A pleasant day, teachers! I hope you're having a productive day. I am Teacher Baby June, and today we will revisit and guide our science teachers how to use explicit teaching in combination with 5 E's. Let us learn and unfold the secrets of teaching science the fun and easy way at the same time. Before we proceed, let us recall that the 5 E's includes engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. In the context of science, the integration of explicit teaching is modified. Now let us talk about explicit teaching and integrating it in our lessons, in combination with the 5 E's approach. Explicit teaching is used when teachers clearly explain to students why they are learning something, how it connects to what they already know, and how to do it, and what it looks like when they have succeeded. This approach can be done in 3 simple steps. The I do, we do, and you do model involves a series of steps starting with you. In the I do or modeling stage, the teacher explains what students need to understand or model the process. This process is done when the teacher explains the lesson and demonstrates how the steps or processes of their task are being done. The teacher can provide many examples that students can use to come up with their output. During the stage, the teacher initiates, models, explains, talks out loud, and shows how to do it or demonstrates. While the learners listen, observe, and create an example based on the teacher model. In the we do stage or the guided, directed practice, you help your learners by providing scaffolds such as prompts or partially completed procedures. It allows the student with the proper support to achieve the desired learning objectives. During the stage, the teacher demonstrates, leads, responds, suggests, explains, acknowledges, and answers questions. While the learner listens, interacts, questions, collaborates, responds, tries out, and participates. Finally, in the you do part or independent practice stage, your learners do the procedure or show their understanding independently. It allows learners to put themselves in new learning situations, to apply what they have understood from the modeling and guided practice steps. This final learning step provides students with an opportunity to test out their understanding to obtain the highest level of mastery possible to consolidate their learning. This step also identifies any student who may need additional support before moving on. During this stage, the teacher scaffolds, validates, teaches as needed, evaluates, observes, encourages, clarifies, confirms, and coaches, while the learners apply learning, take charge, practice, solve a problem, approximate, and self-correct. Now we already know the stages of explicit teaching. The next question is, how do we integrate explicit teaching in combination with the 5 E's? If these are the steps in the 5 E's, and these are the steps in the explicit teaching, how do we merge the principles of explicit teaching with the 5 E's? The first step in the explicit teaching, which is the I do or modeling part, is done during the explore part of the 5 E's. For instance, if our lesson's objective in grade 3 is to describe the position of a person or an object in relation to a reference point, I will demonstrate the concept to the learners first. How will I apply the explicit teaching if my objective is this? Describe the position of a person or an object in relation to a reference point. Using this objective, I will demonstrate a particular task or skill to illustrate the I do or the modeling part. Remember, the goal is to make you realize that explicit teaching is already being used by many of us. Watch me as I demonstrate this part. Where is the pencil? On top of what? The table. Now where is the book? Under of what? The table. What did we use to describe the position of the pencil? The table. What did we use to describe the position of the book? The table as well. Very good. If the table is used to describe the position of the pencil in the book, therefore, the table is referred to as the reference point. What I demonstrated earlier is one phase of explicit teaching. Did you notice how I led the learners to the concept of reference point? I asked a series of questions to lead the learners slowly to the idea of reference point. That is exactly how we do explicit teaching when we explain difficult concepts. In the we do or the guided practice phase, the teacher may provide more examples together with the learners to broaden the concept of describing the position of the object in relation to a reference point. In some cases, the I do and we do part are combined or merged in the explore part. The you do or independent practice is carried out in the elaborate phase of the lesson. The time it takes for explicit teaching to take place may vary depending on the complexity of the learning competency. That's where explicit instruction gets integrated in the 5 E's of a science lesson. What I have shown to you is just one phase of explicit teaching integrated in 5 E's. When else is explicit teaching appropriate to use? Explicit teaching is appropriate to use when a teacher wants to model a procedure that involves step-by-step process. When a teacher wants to perform a specific action. When a teacher teaches to manipulate an equipment or tools. When a concept is difficult and involves a set of skills like comparing, contrasting, interpreting data, analyzing, and other process skills. There we have it, dear teachers. This has been a great learning for all of us, leaving you this important realization that indeed, explicit teaching is truly possible and appropriate in teaching science. This is Teacher Baby June saying, believe, together we can. Cree, junto junto, puede.